Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Paul. My second trimester of CRNA school is officially over. It went by extremely fast. Today, I'm going to share my study routine and my tips on how to excel on all of your exams in CRNA school. First off, I want to say that everyone studies differently. What I'm going to share with you is what has worked best for me and what has proven to give me A's and B's on my exams. I feel like now that the second trimester is over, I can confidently share with you all what I do and what has worked best. So let me break down my study process for you. This is basically all of the steps to my study routine starting from lecture. So first, I export my PowerPoints into a Word document. My classes are either in person or through Zoom online, or the lectures are already up on Canvas ready for you to watch on your own pace and you just take notes on it while you listen. So before going to class, it's a big expectation with doctoral level classes that you already know the material before going into lecture. So they usually provide you with the PowerPoints ahead of time so you can prepare for it, and that's when I would export the PowerPoint into a Word document to kind of summarize what the PowerPoints say, and that way I have a cleaner outline of the PowerPoint instead of the very distracting PowerPoints that they give that can be in very different formats and color. When you have your Word document, I transfer that Word document into my iPad and I use Notability to take notes on it while I listen to the lecture. Another thing I do is I would open up the Word document on my computer, and as I'm listening to the lecture, I would just type notes in it as the lecture is going. Word also has an awesome feature where you can dictate and you just press a button, it will listen to whatever is playing and it would just annotate all of the words. It is extremely useful, especially when you can't type as fast as they're talking. I also use this a lot during tutoring when the tutor is just saying so many things and you just can't keep up with all of the words. So that is a very cool feature to utilize. Once I have all of my lecture notes onto that Word document, you have a pretty good understanding of the material. It's all laid out for you in a summary. I try to keep that as neat as possible. And from then I go on Notion. This is another app that I use, and this is mainly for making questions based on my notes. Others use Quizlet or Anki. It is purely for active recall. I use it to study all of the lectures and to keep that information fresh in my brain. So they're kind of like practice questions that you do because you can only look at your notes and your PowerPoint so much, but to actually apply that and to actually pull that information out of your brain, you need that active recall. Once you get your lecture, it could be 2 to 3 weeks until you actually have your exam on that information. So it's a pretty long time for you to forget all of that material. So what I do is every night I would spend about an hour reviewing all of my questions on Notion. That way it stays in my brain even throughout the weeks leading up to the exam. And the few days before the exam, I would just go through my notes and my questions and basically quiz myself that way. That has worked extremely well for me. I'm able to pull the information right when you see the question, and that's what that trains you to do. The last thing on my list is once you're done with studying by yourself and you have a pretty good grasp on all of the material, you've studied it well, now I really recommend doing group study. I started doing it more this trimester and it helps exponentially. It's very easy for you to be in your study bubble by yourself and the information is just the same that you're feeding yourself. And when you talk to a group, they bring out so much more information and new ways to look at things that it just helps you understand concepts so much more. Plain memorizing and cramming does not work at all for CRNA school or any doctoral level programs. It requires a high level of critical thinking, and the questions are not cut and dry, black and white definition questions. They are just not. They require you to really critically think your way through them, and they're not just gonna give you the answers straight from the text or the PowerPoints. You really have to think how it all connects together. That's the best way I can describe it. They can be very complex and tricky and really requires you to sit down and think about those questions and what they're really asking. So diving into the two apps that I use, the main app I use for taking notes is Notability. I absolutely love this app. You can upload PDFs, PowerPoints, pictures, and your Word documents on it, and you can just write notes and annotate that way. I personally use a lot of colors to learn. The marker and highlighter feature on it is amazing. They have a good variety of colors that you can choose from. And I'm the type of learner that I connect concepts with a certain color with. Like, for example, high would be orange for me and low would be blue. So anything in my notes that is related to hyperglycemia, I would highlight it orange. And if it's hypoglycemia, I would highlight it blue. And that would just make my brain kind of differentiate the different symptoms of that specific disease or a side effect of a drug. And so I would associate those colors with those drugs or disease process. And I do that for everything. And everything cardiovascular would be red, neuro is pink, anything to help you remember things easier. So other things that I use, because a lot of studying in a doctorate program really is self-study. When you're studying by yourself, you may find yourself hitting a wall and you just don't fully understand concepts and you need the extra help. Sometimes all it takes is for you to draw out these concepts on a big whiteboard, just like I do, or just brain dumping on it. I would write out the steps to a process. I list out differences between two concepts or drugs. There's just something about brain dumping that really helps connect all of the information together and for you to fully understand the concept. I also watch a lot of YouTube videos. There are amazing resources out there who are extremely knowledgeable on these things. They explain things so well that your professor might not be able to, and that's just the truth of it. Or you may find a resource that you really enjoy learning from. So you really have to take it upon yourself to understand each of the concepts in the lectures. And for me, it's kind of like a to-do list with every lecture, because some things are very easy to understand. You got it, you made your questions on it, but some things I would really have to sit down and kind of make myself fully understand it, and I would use all of the resources I have. And also phone a friend. The biggest thing with CRNA school is that you have to let go of any feelings of competition between your classmates, because there's just no point in that at all. I'm very lucky that in my class, we have 30 people in our class, and I do not feel any competition with them at all. We are a big family. We are all rooting for each other to succeed. So we are always open to helping each other out. We are sharing all of the resources that we use, and if anyone's struggling with understanding something, we all help to make them understand it. A lot of people may say that I can't study in a group, I prefer studying by myself, and I used to think that way too, but I think the key thing to studying with other people or another person is that you have a good connection or a good relationship with them, that you feel like you can study efficiently and mutual respect, that you understand that you need to get shit done. Your time is very limited and this is what you know and this is what you don't know. There needs to be kind of a clear communication between you and your partners that, okay, I'm not ready to study yet. I'm gonna have to wait till I feel more ready to join. And that's okay. And sometimes someone might say, I'm just gonna sit back and listen to you guys kind of go back and forth with questions. I'm not ready to participate, but I just wanna sit back and kind of listen. And that's perfectly fine. We do that. We do Teams or Zoom meetings or FaceTime calls with each other and just bounce questions off. It really makes you think on the spot and answer those questions, and it helps a lot, significantly. And when you're on the exam, these answers just flow out of you and you remember things from your group sessions way better than when you're studying by yourself, because it's extremely easy for you to get your mind twisted during these exams. And the way they structure questions and the answer choices, they will give you a whole list of answer choices, and it will make you rethink your whole life while you're taking the test, because it's like, is that what I studied? Is that what I think I remember? It gets very tricky. So you need a good foundation of your knowledge and for those things to trigger in your brain for the right answer. My classmates and I and all of my group study partners have all done very well on our exams doing these study techniques. I can tell you that we all study very hard for our exams. It pays off. Most of us do extremely well on these tests. It shows. Our grades are usually average high 80s, low 90s. So that is my study routine. I do that every week. We have multiple classes, multiple lectures throughout the week, so I do that over and over. So that can get pretty repetitive, but once you get that rhythm, stick to it. If it shows that you have good grades and you see yourself really understanding the material and answering questions on the exams very well, then stick to it. It's hard work, it takes up a lot of time, but that is the nature of the program and it is so worth it. Didactic isn't forever. Didactic will be over eventually and you will just be in clinicals and doing your research papers. Just stick through the didactic portion of your program and do well on your exams. I hope you guys found this video helpful for anyone out there studying soon, starting CRNA school, in CRNA school. I know you guys will do amazing. You guys got this. Let me know what questions or other tips you have down in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!